we go. Unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. I gotta be honest with you, that game drove me nuts. I cannot believe the Buccaneers lost that game. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Tough one. Man, that was an absolute blazer from Coach, wasn't it?
What a crazy game. The Bulls are bowl bound for the third season in a row. An incredible performance. And listen, we know the competition. They did what they had to do. No more silver linings. No more moral victories. It was put up or shut up time. And boy, did they rise to the occasion.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Recher podcast. Happy February 3rd, 2026. We are here at Benchmark International Arena. The Sabres had a game last night against the Florida Panthers. So there's only two people on the ice with one of the coaches. So nothing crazy out there at the arena today. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I am everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. What a show that we had yesterday. Talking a lot of Stadium Series. Ian Beckles talking some football and hockey. And then Lightning defenseman J.J. Moser joined the program as well. So a fun show yesterday and another fun show today here on the program. A big thank you to our partners, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, for your residential and commercial needs. And, of course, EverHealth, everhealth.org, 17 different locations in Pinellas County. The EverHealth Injury Report coming up this Thursday at 12:30 with our guy, Dr. Carlos Rodriguez. So really, really great stuff as well. I'm rocking the pink today. It's a pink and blue type of day here at Benchmark International Arena. Sabres, Lightning tonight. Two more games for the Bolts before the Olympic break. We have some updates coming up about our Tampa Bay Lightning. We'll hear from Jon Cooper here momentarily. Got a chance to speak with him. Got a chance to speak with Yanni Gord and Zemgus Girgensons as well. And a couple other things we'll talk about as well on the program. The great Ben Pierce, Lightning beat writer, is going to join us at 1 o'clock today. But before that, we will discuss a couple of things. We know that Ron DeSantis was in town discussing the Rays in their future stadium, and we're still waiting on renderings and the big news that the Rays are willing to pay more than half and some of the overruns. We'll get into that here in a little bit. And then also, one of the topics of conversation that we had with Ian yesterday was, is this Super Bowl lacking star power? It just seems like there's not the same kind of buzz. There's not the same kind of excitement this year. And the more and more I've been thinking about it the last 24 hours, I think we may be on to something. And especially after last night, media night, which is supposed to have a bunch of different things that come out of it that really draws attention to the big game on Sunday. I don't know if we really got that. So we'll get into that here in a little bit. Again, follow me on all social media platforms at Recher. If you guys want to chime in on the conversation, feel free to leave your comments below, or if you want to give us a call on the video chat on your phone or your laptop, StreamYard.com/SJQWZCQMDQ, or just easier if you just click on the link right there in the chat. Later on today at about 4 o'clock, I will be chatting with Brian Hodson from USF men's basketball. So I will record that in this suit, probably up in the press box here at Benchmark International Arena, and then we'll play that tomorrow on the program. So we'll chat with him today, play it for you tomorrow. We'll also have Eric Erlinson, lightninginsider.com tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Thursday, Ed and Cena at 1:30. And then, 12:30, the injury report. Next Friday, I'll be off. Not this Friday. I kind of got my dates switched and mixed up there. Thought I was going to be off next Friday, but it's actually, or I thought I was going to be off this Friday. It's actually next Friday. So a full slate of shows, and especially Friday ahead of the Super Bowl on Sunday. I'll give you my final predictions for the big game. Another thing we're going to touch on after we talk to Ben, an incredible back and forth a verbal duel on the microphone last night in Philadelphia. And you want to talk about how you can talk people into a building and why the gift of gab is still the gift to keep on giving. We found that out last night on Monday Night Raw between CM Punk and Roman Reigns. So we'll talk about that at 1:30 or so. David Terry, Jaybird, have you heard anything on Cirelli? I haven't heard a thing. Hopefully he's okay. We'll get into that here in a bit. We'll hear from Jon Cooper. Our North Carolina correspondent, Steve Garner, could be a blow for Canada at the Olympics. It sure can. Good afternoon, J-Ratch crew. Hope all is well. Jay, suit looking fly as always, sir. Enjoy your day. Thank you so much, buddy. Rendax, Jay, you're slowly morphing into Greg Sager. If I could do my job half as well as Greg Sager, I think I'll be in good shape. All right, we are live here, Benchmark International Arena. Again, the game tonight between the Sabres and the Lightning. Let's hear from head coach Jon Cooper. He spoke right there during skate today and gave us an update on not only Anthony Cirelli, but Nick Paul and Braden Point. And I got to tell you guys, not exactly the news that we wanted to hear when it comes to the health of these players. It's going to be a little bit of a skeleton crew tonight here at Benchmark. Here is what Coach Cooper had to say.
Just can you talk about
back home
at Benchmark International Arena?
I didn't feel like we left.
What were the last 24 hours like? And can you just talk about maybe processing coming back here? And does it change your approach at all? How do you process all that?
I don't know. Like, we have 3 division opponents: Boston, Buffalo, Florida. And if you've been standings watching what these other teams are doing, it's pretty impressive, especially the team we're playing tonight. So if you had looked at Boston, that was a heck of a hockey game. I mean, it was an epic day for hockey in Tampa. But in the end, it'll be a memory I'll cherish for a lifetime. But it just equaled 2 points, the same as tonight's game, and the same as Winnipeg's the game before, and Utah the game before that. So I think we got to go on a little magic carpet ride for a bit. Now it's back to doing what we have to do. There's only 2 left. So we're looking at a big break here. I think the guys, you got to give full marks for what they've done in the first however many games we've played. But we have 2 left. We can't forget that. And they're at home. So I think the guys have, tried to turn the page on what happened the other, on Sunday. Because we have to. Because, Buffalo's not thinking the same way. So we got to make sure we're ready to go.
Tonight is your first time playing the Sabres. What do you expect from that team?
Well, I think, you think we've been on a run for 25 games or whatever it is. I think they might be better than us. And so, it's hard to believe that all these teams in our division are winning the way they are. But it's weird to be this late in the season, not have played a division opponent, which means we have a whole bunch of meaningful games with them down the stretch. Although it always seems like we play Buffalo at the end of the year. I don't know why. And you've got an excited team over there. They're in a position they haven't been in, for some time, and you can see they're playing like that. So I don't know. It'll be this should be a good one.
John, anything new on Cirelli?
Cirelli's, he's going to be out the next 2 games, and we'll just have to evaluate from there. It was just an awkward collision, in the neutral zone, and it's tough. And same with Paul. Paul, he injured himself, in overtime there. So that's it's 2 huge losses for us in these next 2 games.
So Paul will miss the next 2 as well.
Yeah.
Saw Jake kind of play some center there in the game on Sunday.
Yeah.
Is that something we'll see?
We're running low on centers. So somebody's gonna have to slide over, but he's done it before. He did a good job there tonight.
John, in terms of Team Canada for Point and Cirelli, you guys are leaving Friday, right after the game, but you have time to make decisions on those guys. Will those guys still go regardless?
Completely questions for a whole different. That's a whole different press conference. So it's a wait and see.
Good to see Pointer out there for practice in the pregame warmups. He was out there again today. mean,
get better.
how much did it kill him not to be in that game? It seems.
Oh, well, I'm sure it killed anybody that couldn't be in it. It was that's why all the guys get to take warm-ups and get to experience what it was like. It's pretty cool when you see things that people are talking about. Is that the greatest outdoor game? That's there's been 45 of them, and to think that that one's regarded as one of the best or the best is it's pretty cool.
Did you get a big response for your outfit from?
That was all. Yeah, the outfit wasn't. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It wasn't looking too good when we were down 5-1.
Well, it looks better now because you guys came back and won.
No, the boys rallied. It was what a hockey game, though. I think that's the big thing is go from have one team score 5 straight goals and another team score 5 straight goals and dramatics and theatrics and overtime and shootout and non-goal and overtime, like the goalie fight. I don't know. If you're going to sit here and say you're going to put all those things in one game, you're like, really? But they all happen. It's pretty sweet.
Any chance Poyer plays in either of these last 2 games?
I know.
And there you go. You heard from the man himself, Jon Cooper, out for the next 2 games. Anthony Cirelli, Braden Point, and Nick Paul out for the next 2 games. No bueno. Not good for the Tampa Bay Lightning. A couple of very important divisional games for them here at Benchmark. Buffalo's been riding high, leading the, Tage Thompson leading the way, big dude, unbelievable shot. And then Florida. We don't know what's going on Thursday. It could get a little crazy. Matthew Tkachuk hasn't played the Tampa Bay Lightning since last year. He obviously wasn't involved in the preseason matchup. We saw Scott Sabrin get called up from the AHL. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple of more call-ups in the next day or 2 with all of these guys being out. So no Point, no Cirelli, no Paul. I'm already trying to get in my head. I think they probably go 11-7 tonight again just because of that. So you'll see Moser and Radish, McDonough and Chernak, and then Crozier, Carlisle, and Hedman. That makes the most sense to me. Those will be your 7 defensemen. Your 11 forwards are going to be Hagel. Let's start with the line that we know. Your 11 forwards are going to be Gord, Gergensons, who we'll hear from in a second, and Holmberg. Hagel, Kucherov, and Gensel. So that's 6. You'll also have Gonsalves, James, that's 7-8. You have Bjorkstrand, that's 9. And then you'll probably have, 2 more guys, Douglas, Sabrin, or Finley. 3 of those guys. 12-6, they'll all get in. If they go 11-7, 2 of those 3 guys will get in, and they'll go 7 defensemen again. So, it's going to be very interesting to see how Jon Cooper finagles this roster down the stretch. What does he do to make sure that these guys are still competitive, but also not just healthy for the Olympic break, but just, you want to be able to sustain this out throughout the entire, the rest of the season. This is why Jon Cooper gets paid the big bucks, man. Definitely not easy. We're very happy to have a guy like Yanni Gourde back. I told him today, I'm so glad that you were here. So glad that you were here for the outdoor game. He just looked at me and goes, yes. This team is so much better with Yanni on it. I think that 3rd line or 4th line, whatever the hell it is, him, Holmberg, and Gergensen has just been outstanding. So to be able to kind of see him, it's really, really good stuff. So let's get to him real quick. Here's Yanni Gourde from earlier today. Dustin, I'll get to you in a second here, buddy. Let me get Yanni Gourde posted up. Here's Yanni after morning skate today about the Stadium Series and also how important these last 2 games are. Yanni, now that we're a couple days after the Stadium Series, looking back on it, man, what are the things you're going to remember the most?
Going down 5-1 and winning in shootout is pretty electric. The fan, the emotion of that game, obviously the goalie fight.
You've known Vasi for so long.
Yeah.
And he's not the loudest guy.
Yeah.
He's so mild-mannered. What's going through your head knowing him as long as you have?
I loved it. I was like, this is cool. This is unreal. He stepped up for his teammate, and it was fantastic to see that. It was just electric. The whole game was fantastic. Obviously, except the first period.
What about the? I've been asking a lot of the guys about the Bucks jerseys. When you get that word that, hey, this is what we're going with, what's like the first thought in your head? Like, have you ever put a football jersey on?
No, never put any football gear ever on. So that was fun. It was a cool experience to wear that and wear that nice Bucks jersey. It was sick.
The relationship with the other teams in town is obviously a big thing. And then when you get let out by Tristan and Baker, like how cool is that, the camaraderie between all the pro athletes here?
It's unreal. It's unreal to see them come and play games, support us, do the walkout with us. We see them after the game. They're amazing. Some of the Rays players also came, and it's awesome to see that and to have their support and it means a lot. And we love having those guys and seeing those guys supporting us, and because we do the same.
How important is it to kind of dial back in now to get these 2 games before the break? Obviously, not going to be easy with a couple of division opponents here.
Yeah, absolutely. Those 2 games are huge. Tonight's we got to focus on tonight first, Buffalo's a great team, and they've played some great hockey lately. So you gotta respect that for sure.
My guy, Yanni Gourde, the man. He's the best, bro. I freaking love that guy. Just so glad that he's back here with the team, and you can just hear it. Like, he takes so much pride in being here in the Tampa Bay area. He loves being here. I was just actually talking to one of the Lightning staffers today, and they just said that Yanni could not get to the airport quick enough when he got traded back here from Seattle. I thought he was finding his footing last year, and he wasn't 100%, but man, now that we've seen him with the program, it's been fantastic. Jay, any goalie confirmation? It was today an optional. Today it wasn't. They didn't say it wasn't optional, but it really was, because Cooch wasn't out there. A couple of guys weren't out there, but Vazzy was. With the Lightning being off after this, after these 2 games, I think he would be in between the pipes for both these. No belief that he wouldn't be in there tonight for Buffalo. Maybe he gets off for Thursday. We'll see, but it looks like he'll be in there tonight. Dustin, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
What's up, brother? You looking good today, Jay.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. You know, I got to I didn't want to put too much effort into the outfit today. It was kind of an easy grab and go, buddy. I mean, and I got to wear my gold spiky shoes for Thursday because the stinking Florida Panthers are in town. So I always need to have my feet as a walking weapon, just in case anybody gets frothy at the mouth there in the press box. What do you got for me, bud?
I got a couple of Lightning questions.
Yeah, sure.
One I wasn't planning on asking you, but we all saw Cooper's outfit, but you're the shoe guy. I didn't see the shoe part. Were the shoes on par with the rest of the outfit, the Tony Montana?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had the blue sparkle shoes on. I was told by our good friend Deandra Lou from the Hockey News, you got to wear the blue sparkles for the outdoor game. I said, okay. So it was really cool, too, that the NHL PR guys and the Lightning people that were working together let me actually ask him the question about the outfit. Everybody kept saying, it's only right that you ask him that question.
Right.
So he was showing, everybody that got mad that was, it's not Tony Montana. It's an ode to Cigar City and Ybor and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's okay if it's both, because he was dressed like Tony Montana, and he was, obviously, showing some love to, them dabbling in the cigar. So yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah, and Tony Montana, the character, he's Cuban and all that. So it all ties together. But yeah, a couple of quick questions, man. I'll let you go. And by the way, talk to your boy Matt Matera last week covering the Senior Bowl, and man, he was an awesome guy. He had a lot of positive things to say about you. I know I didn't get to watch yesterday's episode, so if you've already spoke on this, I apologize. But my two questions are: one, the moment in the press box whenever Vazzy and Swayman, like, you realize, okay. Because, I mean, you've been at a bunch of Lightning games. You've been to a bunch of Bucks games and Ray J. I got to know what that moment was like for the media in the press box. And then also just a fan concern that I have about the Lightning here, maybe kind of help me coil these concerns a little bit. This team is red hot, Jay. Olympic break. Should we be worried about this pause and then kind of having to hit that reset button and come up. Because right now, I don't want the Lightning to stop playing hockey. They're on cruise control. They're playing great hockey. Should we be worried about 2 to 3 weeks and then them kind of coming in and hitting that restart button and picking up where they left off? Could that be a concern? Because we got a lot of guys that are going to be playing in the Olympics. Would that be any concern that we might have? And thank you for taking me, brother.
Yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, I'll start with that one first. I think it's just natural to have some concerns about that. No doubt about it. I think what kind of buoys those concerns, though, is that the Four Nations was last year and Jon Cooper was a part of it. And I just remember practice last year, everybody would be there except Hagel, Cirelli, Point, Cooper, Gensel. So, like, he has experience of knowing how to kind of take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit for some of those guys and give them a break after when they get back from the Olympics, right? Yeah. So I think that's what makes me feel better. There's a lot of other teams that are dealing with the same thing. One thing that does make me feel better about this entire process is that 2 of the Lightning's best players aren't going, right? So you don't have Kucherov and you don't have Vasilevsky going. So I think that could be a good thing. It does concern me a little bit that they have this time off because they have played so well. But the one great thing about, great teams is that you have to answer a lot of different questions, right? If you are if this break affects the Lightning more than it should, then they're not as good as we think they are, right? They have to be able to prove like they've won games in a bubble. They've won games without their captain. They've won games without defensemen. I mean, that's why I'm not one of those big believers when it comes to sports, unless if you have a San Francisco 49ers situation, right? You lose Kittle, you lose Fred Warner, you lose Christian McCaffrey. Like, you can't win without your talent, right? But I'm a firm believer that the best teams find a way. The best teams find a way, and the Lightning, when they've been at their best in the last decade, have found a way. So I think they will. I'm not overly concerned, especially with even the guys that are out, Cirelli, Paul, and Yanni and Braden Point. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll all play in the they'll all be fine for the Olympics, the guys that are going. And as far as the fight goes, I was very fortunate because I put my phone up at the time that there was a little skirmish around the net because I just been in the habit of doing that recently. And then the goalie thing happened. So I was able to capture the entire thing. Now, there's no cheering allowed in the press box.
Yeah, I know.
And that kind of thing kind of went by the wayside a little bit because I was in this, not by me, but because the guys behind me from left to right were Emil Lilleberg, Charlie Wardescu, Braden Point, Max Groshev, Curtis Douglas, and Jack Finley. They were all sitting behind me. So when Hagel scores 11 seconds in, I'm actually turning around talking to Curtis Douglas, and Hagel scores, and he goes, "Oh, my bad." I'm like, "Damn it, Dougie." And Charlie Wardescu is like, "Yes." And everybody turns around because it's such a faux pas that you're not supposed to cheer in the press box. Everybody looked, and I kind of said it out loud so everybody could hear, like, nobody's telling those guys not to cheer in the press box. Like, they're on the team, so it doesn't matter. Like, they're just up here anyway. So there was kind of cheering for the fights, like, oh my God, look at that. I can't believe it. I couldn't tell because I was so busy videoing it. And I think I was saying, oh my God, too. Because it necessarily wasn't like those guys behind me were definitely cheering for Vasilevsky, but I don't even know if it so much was cheering for Vasilevsky, but cheering for the moment. Like, it was just such a great moment. And that's what makes hockey so great is like they fought, they threw it down. Vazzy like picked him up, and some people said, "Oh, he picked him up because he was trying to ragdoll him." No, Vazzy picked him up because he's got respect, and he's like, "Hey, we did our thing, and then we moved on." They kind of laughed about it when they shook hands at the end, and Vazzy was very complimentary to Jeremy Swayman after the game. It wasn't smack talking; it was just like, "Hey, he's trying to get his team fired up," and Swayman recognized that, and I gained a lot of respect for Jeremy Swayman after that game. And I'm glad he's American. I'm glad he's going to represent Team USA. He's probably not going to play because of Hellebuck and Ottinger in front of him. But I thought it was a really cool moment. And I turned around and I said, it's a pointer. And I said, Braden, I said, this is one of the biggest moments in Tampa Bay Lightning history. Just like your goal after 5 overtimes, just like Stammer's goal in the bubble when he was hurt. This is one of the most memorable things that we're always going to remember as Lightning fans. And I don't know if I said this yesterday. I'm glad you brought it up. The one person who didn't say anything during that fight was Braden Point. He was not happy. He was not happy to be in the press box.
He won't be out there.
I've never seen a greater example of FOMO probably in my entire life. I mean, this is one of the best players in the world, right? I asked him, I said, I said, how was the ice today? Cooch didn't love it yesterday. He goes, it was much better today because he was out there for practice. He seemed good. And he was out here a really long time today. He was the first guy on the ice for morning skate and one of the last guys off. So for all of our Team Canada fans, I think Point will be fine. I'd be more concerned with Cirelli than Point at this point. But I just felt so bad for him because as much as Dougie and Finley and those other guys, they were enjoying the moment. Pointer had that FOMO, like, I should be out there for this kind of thing.
And he's been such a great part of the last decade or so for this franchise. And we've obviously had the moments of lifting the cup and all the great moments that this franchise has had. And really it's short, right there at 30 years of existence. But that felt like, outside of hoisting the cup 3 times, that felt like one of the bigger moments in the history of the franchise. And great job on you with the coverage, man. And great job, like the city and the organizations just knocking it out the park. It was just an awesome event. I had to spend all week last week in Mobile, so I couldn't make the time to go, from the Senior Bowl Saturday to Tampa Sunday. I hate that I missed it. I had a FOMO watching on TV for sure, but that was just an awesome moment, and just continue the great live and coverage, brother.
Appreciate it, Dustin. Thanks, man. Have a good week. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, you too, brother.
All right, buddy. Always call in, Dustin. You're always welcome, man. And I want more people to be able to call in like Dustin and sharing in the conversation as well. Speaking of sharing in the conversation, got a chance to speak to my guy Zemgus Girgensons today. It was great. He's such a mild-mannered guy, and he's been such a big part of this team. Last year with Luke Glendening and killing penalties on that fourth line, and now this year, getting more action and playing against the other team's top players is such a good player, man. And if somebody said this to me during practice on Saturday, like if Zemgus Girgensons had just a little bit more scoring touch, he'd score 40 goals. Like, he's that good. And it just shows you these professional athletes are so badass, man. He's just such a good player. Got a chance to talk to Z. Here's what he had to say after morning skate today.
So you guys got a lot of ice time down the stretch there because of some of the injuries. What was working for you guys there in the third to kind of set you guys up for success as the game went on?
Last game?
Yeah.
I mean, Bassey's fight definitely got the emotions going, and I think that was kind of the key to all of it. I mean, the power play stepped up. We got some weapons out there, so it was nice to come back with that.
What about the chemistry with you guys? I've asked you guys kind of every couple weeks, how it's grown with Pontus and Yanni there. I mean, what's the biggest thing you seem to have sustained success? Because Cooper's a guy that likes to mix up the lines a little bit, but man, for having you guys together for that long, what have you learned from playing with those guys that's attributed to you guys playing so well together?
From the get-go, it was us just kind of being on the same page from the start, and from there on out, we just, to be honest, we talk a lot between games, what we can do better, where are we going to be. So I think that's been the key, and we talk on the ice, we communicate well, so I think those are a couple of good keys.
What about your game specifically? Because you played so much with Glennie, obviously last year, and then this year playing, with 2 guys. Did you have to adapt your game at all to kind of make that work, or is it just kind of the same thing?
No, yeah, it's a little different role. We're playing the top line, so the game changes a little bit, not much. I still play the same way, but definitely you gotta be a little more cautious with what you do. You can't be as reckless when you play those top lines.
So again, now that the Stadium Series is over, man, what's kind of the other than the goalie fight? What are some of the things that really stood out to you now that it's gone and passed?
I mean, the whole experience, that was a cool event. Props to NHL and Tampa for putting up such a good event. It was definitely the coolest thing I've seen. Seeing all the people and all the stuff was out there, all the production. It was top notch.
Gotta love Z. What a great guy. And he's right. If you got an opportunity to go to that game, it's, again, even 48 hours later, I don't know if I've thawed out yet. I don't know. I'm still freezing my ass off because the game, and then you get home that late, even if you take a shower, you're still cold. And then Monday, it was a cold day. And then I had practice last night outside, baseball practice, and I was cold. And then I get to the arena today, and it's cold again. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, can we get some freaking warm weather around here? This is why we live in Florida, damn it. But yeah, what just incredible memories from the Stadium Series. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but last night, my video of Nikita Kucherov was actually on SportsCenter. So I'm actually going to put it on social media here in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, just think about it. How cool is that? I got reached out to last night by one of the executive producers at ESPN saying, hey, can we use your video of Nikita Kucherov talking about Vazzy fighting for SportsCenter? And yeah, it was really cool, man. So my mom, she DVR'd it, and it was like one of the last things on SportsCenter last night, looking back at the fight. And yeah, in the upper right-hand corner, it said the Jay Recher podcast. So very proud of that. Very proud of the work, from this weekend. Over 1 million views on all of my social media platforms, which is pretty crazy. And I still have some more stuff to be able to put out there too. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that at Jay Recher, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. We got to keep this train going, man. We got to keep this thing going. I feel good. A lot of growth here just in the first month of the program. It's February 3rd. God knows how big that this thing can really get. We got to continue to get more sponsors. If you want to sponsor the program and get on board like Honest Hammer and Ever Health, reach out to me, man. Hit me up at Jay Recher on my social media platforms. Let's get this thing rolling. And then the super chats, man. Every single one of those super chats help. $1, $2, $5, $10, $20, whatever you guys can do. I can't thank you guys enough. We're still working on the Jay Recher crew stuff. We're gonna do the Jay Recher podcast on the front, and then like hashtag Wrecking Crew on the back, something like that. Yeah, it's the future looks bright, man. I'm very, very excited. Jay Recher on the mothership, bro. The wife and I were dressed like Eskimos. Never did get cold. That's great. What up, Jay Bird? My guy Bart Hill. He's another guy. Bart Hill. Been with me, supporting me for years. Bart, I love you, buddy. Thank you so much for the support. Me and Ian, we talk about you, buddy. We were like, Bart Hill, man. Bart Hill would, early, late, he's always supporting. Cannot thank you enough. All right, so this whole thing with the Rays. Obviously, there was a news conference today with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Major League Baseball Rob Manfred, and their discussion of baseball belonging in Tampa Bay. Ron DeSantis saying baseball can succeed here, but it's the thing that worries me about these press conferences, and you see this a lot, and it's not just from the people that are pessimistic, but a lot of these questions that people have, like, nobody answers them. Nobody answers the questions about where this money is coming from. And we heard the story yesterday that the Rays owners, Ken Babby and the crew, have been saying that, all right, well, they'll take care of, at least 50%, and they'll take care of all of the construction overruns. Where's that money coming from? Because it's not just coming from them. And that's what, again, I'm still in this wait and see phase when it comes to this whole approach with the Rays Stadium. I'm not going to put the cart before the horse. I'm not going to get overly excited either. And again, I will mention it and I will discuss it, but I'm not going to sit here and really, go head over heels. Like, I don't care who says it, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to believe it until shovels are in the ground. We've been talking about shovels in the dirt for how freaking long? Like, I want to see it. Mark Topkin just posted the Tampa Bay Times crew did such a great job of putting the story together, and this is why you want to support local. And it says right here, few questions were answered about the team's plans to forge what Ray CEO Ken Babby called a fair public-private partnership. The team's owners are seeking a large chunk of public funding for the stadium, which could reportedly cost as much as $2.3 billion. So where is that money coming from? Where? Ron DeSantis also said on Tuesday that the state, which owns the land on which HCC sits on, will be conveying the land to the college, and they'll be able to negotiate use. All right. and they plan to pay for at least 50% of the stadium costs, as well as future repairs and renovations and any construction cost overruns. That's one of the things that there was questions about Stu Sternberg and his crew. And we were very concerned about that. Well, what about the cost overruns? And it was like, well, originally they said, yeah, we'll do it. And then when it happened, it was like, well, yeah, the storms. Yeah. Come on, man. Come on. The rest of that stadium cost, the owners are hoping that's going to come from a couple of different public funding sources. And that could include money from a tourist tax on short-term rentals and hotel stays, Hillsborough County's 0.5% sales tax, and revenue from a property tax assessed on the area around the stadium site. It just seems like a lot more money. Like, we need more of this. We need more of this. We need more of this. I don't know, man. I don't. And it's funny how a couple of weeks ago, Ron DeSantis said, well, if it doesn't work there, well, Orlando really wants it too. It's like, is that something that you really want to hear? I don't know. And I know Ken Hagen, and I know how much that he loves baseball and how he wants it to be here. And he's going to do whatever it takes. And I think if there's one thing that makes me happy, if there's one thing that gives me optimism about this whole thing, is that we do have somebody like Ken Hagen involved who is a baseball guy and understands being a member of that Hillsborough County commissioner for as long as he has. Like, he gets wrestling and football and baseball and hockey. Like, Hitman Hagen knows. He knows the deal. So he's not one of those people that's just going to say, like, oh, I support sports here, and then he's going to go behind somebody's back and be like, no, I don't. That's not what I want. He gets it. He gets the impact that sports can have on our local communities. Is that going to be enough, though? Is that going to be enough? Because, you know, he wanted to hear years ago and wasn't able to get it. And he was, you know, hey, we'll play ball if it doesn't work out in St. Pete. Rob Manfred and Ron DeSantis being here in the Tampa Bay area sounds like the last-ditch effort to get baseball to work here in the Tampa Bay area. Because if it doesn't work here with this iteration, they're gone and they're never going to come back. I know nobody wants to hear that. I know nobody has the balls to say things like that, but that reeks of desperation. That reeks of seriousness. That reeks of, hey, we have to try to get this done because we already have two other teams that play in this market. This is a top TV and radio market in the country. We have to try to exhaust every single avenue to try to get this done. But what if it doesn't? What if it doesn't get done? What if we can't find that local money? What if the public funding does not make up that other 50%? Then this team is gone. And I've been saying this for the better part of 10 years, and people keep asking me where the next stadium is going to be. I still feel like it could just disappear and they could just go somewhere else. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. Would they go to North Carolina being closer to Durham? That could be. Could they go to another one of these cities? Could they go to the Pacific Northwest? Could they go to Nashville? They could. I mean, I don't know. But I don't look at this whole thing with Rob Manfred and Ron DeSantis as something where it's like, oh, wow, like they're here and it's all for the up and up and there's follow the money. Follow the money. We know that there's a link between Zalupski and Ron DeSantis, right? And he had to have known that this was going to be an uphill climb to try to get a stadium here on this side of the bay. So these discussions, even though we're hearing some of the details now, this is not something that has just popped up out of nowhere. This is not something that they just started talking about. But they know that there are a lot of obstacles that they have to overcome. And I just don't know what's, you know, it's easy. If it was that easy to be able to build something here on the Tampa side, why wasn't it done years ago? Why was it so much easier to stay in St. Pete? Well, a lot of it had to do with that tourist tax. And you heard right there, the public funding they had $700,000 ready for the stadium. And Stu and his crew balked at that. If you told this ownership crew that, hey, Hillsborough County is going to give you $700,000 towards a $2.3 billion stadium, would they take it? They'd be on the hook for what, 1.6? That's a lot of shillings. That is a lot of money, ladies and gents. I don't know. Think about that. They already had the public funding. Pinellas County and the city of St. Pete worked together to bring together $700,000 towards a new stadium. You think Hillsborough County and the city of Tampa are going to be able to bring that type of money together from public funding? That's not even half. That is not even half. Not even $1 million. Where's that other 300,000? Where's that other probably 500,000 to be able to meet them halfway? I don't know, man. It all sounds well and good, but it's the hope that kills you. I'm trying to think positive, Sergio. I'm trying to think positive, pal, but I'm a realist before anything else. I'm a realist before I'm an optimist. I'm a realist before I'm a pessimist. But I you can't keep spitting in my face and tell me that it's raining. I'm not trying to hear that shit. I'm just not. I'm not. They have to prove us wrong. These new guys have to come in and they have to do some different things. These guys have to come in and prove to us that they're going to be able to get a stadium here and they're going to be able to spend on the payroll, because this is just an entire process that is going to take years to get done. And it's just like, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Again and again and again, just having these same conversations over and over again. I was listening to some of the TV guys here locally talk about this entire thing today at Morning Skate, and they just kept going back and forth with, do you guys even cover this on the sports side, or is it more of your news guys? And they said, yeah, it's more of our news guys. And some of the sports dudes, they're making comments like, yeah, man, it's the same old thing over and over and over again. It's, again, I'm not going to spend a crap ton of time. I'm giving you 10, 15 minutes of what I know and what my opinions are. But other than that, man, really, you want to talk about the example of beating a dead horse. That has been this race situation with the stadium. Holy smokes. It's incessant of, it's just the low-hanging fruit. You want to talk about something that pisses people off in the Bay Area. You want to talk about an easy radio topic that you just mention it and see how many phone calls you get, because people want to call up and just bitch and moan about their day. Just talk about the Rays Stadium saga. Like, oh, God. That's it for me. That's it for me. I'm not talking about it anymore. We obviously, will we see renderings of a new stadium? I don't really care about renderings. I've seen so many freaking renderings of all these different things. It means absolutely nothing to me. Show me shovels in the ground. Show me where the money's coming from. Show me that a stadium's going in the ground and you have a plan for spending money on this payroll so that you're not, little sisters of the poor every single year in Major League Baseball. I mean, we're going to talk about buzz in the NFL here in a little bit. Where's the buzz for the Rays? They made a trade yesterday. I mean, again, is anybody else sick and tired of trades where the Rays are like that third team? They're the redheaded stepchild in every move. Well, we got this guy that's a situational righty or lefty, or, a good piece off the bench. And it's just like, oh God, people are rumoring that the Lightning are in on Artemi Panarin, a guy that's making $11 million this year. The Buccaneers are talking about bringing back Mike Evans, a Hall of Famer, and a guy like Baker Mayfield, who was in the MVP conversation. Oh, God. It hurts my brain talking about the race. It really does. All right, one of the things we spoke about yesterday with Ian was the lack of star power in the Super Bowl. And, the more and more I'm thinking about this, were we being too harsh yesterday? Were we being too harsh on the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots? Because we're kind of going back and forth, and we're dabbling in, that discussion, and we kind of just stumbled upon it. I didn't really plan on talking him about that, but we were obviously going to talk some football with our guy Ian Beckles. And as we started this discussion, you start thinking, like, why are people going to tune in casually? Other than, all right, hold on, I got to text our guy Benjamin Pierce. And you can hear the music starting up. The Rink of Dreams. And we don't know if they'll have the national anthem played or not, but if we do, or if they do, we will definitely pause like we always do for our good friend Sonia Bryson Kirksey. I wish Sonia sang the national anthem at the outdoor game. That would have been pretty badass. But yeah, the lack of star power for the Super Bowl. I mean, who are the stars? It's like Mike Vrabel. I mean, a lot of people don't even know the head coach's name for the Seattle Seahawks. The quarterbacks are Sam Darnold. It's a great, redemption story. But it's a redemption because, he didn't play well. It wasn't you know what I mean? Drake May, young kid. Diggs on one side, Jackson Smith and Jigba on the other side. Good players on defense, but nobody, no huge names where this obviously isn't Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, right? This isn't a rematch of a Super Bowl in the past like we saw last year between the Chiefs and the Eagles a couple of years after they played the first time. And last night with media nights, you were hoping that something came out of that to draw some excitement to the game. And we're going to talk a little bit about something a little bit later on that drew some excitement. Actually, we'll talk about that now. You know what? Let's talk about that right now. So, last night, Monday Night Raw, our good pal Corey Long, he texts me and Ed Encina, and he says, "Hey, what did you guys think of that?" And we're like, "Oh, we didn't finish watching Monday Night Raw yet." But then, after Monday Night Raw ended, we knew exactly what he was talking about, and it was the promo between Roman Reigns and CM Punk. And the way that those guys talked people into the building for WrestleMania. WrestleMania is WrestleMania. It's the biggest thing ever. We get it. It's the granddaddy of them all. But the way that these guys got on the microphone and started talking smack about each other, and it's legit, they were based in truth. One guy leaving, one guy staying, one guy making comments on a podcast, Roman Reigns having to pick up the pieces when CM Punk left, and Roman Reigns not having a full-time schedule, and CM Punk hitting all the towns, just like they used to do in the 80s and 90s. It just felt real. It felt real. It felt like two guys that didn't like each other, or at least it just, man, you walk out of there like, oh, shit, I want to buy a ticket. A lot of this stuff, we take it so damn serious when it comes to sports. But it's entertainment at the end of the day. And I see what you're saying, Steve. Not a lack of star power. It's a lack of nationally recognized star power. To me, I think that's where star power is national. Star power, I don't think, is local. And Sergio Biltra saying it's not Brady versus Russell Wilson. You're right. That's what Ian said yesterday. It's not Brady versus Wilson. It's not Belichick versus Carroll. There's no beast mode. There isn't no Legion of Boom. There's no, there's no Rob Gronkowski. It's just not the same. It's not the same. People are going to watch a Super Bowl because it's a Super Bowl. People are going to watch because of the halftime show, because of the commercials. That's just part of the gig. But I don't feel that energy. And I didn't hear anybody last night say anything egregious. I didn't hear anybody say anything exciting. There was no Marshawn Lynch, I'm only here so I won't get fined. There was nothing from that media night last night that went, wow, I really got to see this guy in the Super Bowl. And I think that night has gotten worse and worse. It's a weird thing. Even Radio Row just doesn't seem to have that same buzz like it once did. Times change. Times change, and we live in a world where people want information and everything so quickly, and they want to be entertained, and they want things that keep their attention. I don't think this Super Bowl has it. I don't. Now, does that mean that the game's going to suck? No. Usually means quite the opposite. This game's probably going to be a pretty good one, with that being said. But now, and what's the drama going to be over the next couple of days? What's going to be the big hook to get people to want to tune in on Sunday? I don't know if there is something, barring a injury or a sickness or somebody getting arrested or somebody talking smack or some. Where's the history on the line? What's on the line? What are the stakes? I've been talking about this a lot, coaching. People are invested in certain things. People give more effort towards certain things based on what the stakes are. What's in it for me? What do we get out of this? What are we going to be talking about? Why are we tuned in? Why are we focused? More attention is on Bad Bunny and the halftime show after his comments at the Grammys about ICE. More people want to talk about that than the actual game. It may be like that during other years as well, but I think that gap is even bigger. If you had to rank those three, what are you most intrigued by? What are you most excited by going into the game on Sunday? What is it? 1, 2, 3. Game, halftime show, commercials. To me, it's probably commercials, game, halftime show. I'm never a big halftime show guy, but it stirred people up. It's a topic of conversation. So I don't know, man. I'll enjoy the game. I'm probably going to go over by Ian's unless I have another allergic reaction to his cat, which I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'll have to take some Claritin or whatever. But it's missing that juice. It's missing that fervor. And I hope something happens over the next couple of days because, again, we're here for entertainment. We use and we love sports for a escape from reality, and we need something, man. We need something for Sunday's game. Make sure you guys take care of my partners, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, for all your residential and commercial needs. 813-244-0956. Those guys are the best. My guy Russ, the Hammer. Go check them out. TheHonestHammer.com, TheHonestHammer@gmail.com. They are just the type of people that you want to work on your home. Bitching, I was going to say. No, not bitching. Kitchen and bathroom renovations. You have a plot of land. They should probably do that. Bitchin' renovations. That'd be pretty cool. Put them together. Kitchen and bathroom renovations. They're bitchin' renovations. They're the best. New room in your house that you want to work on, they'll be able to help you out. And he's a Team Tampa Bay sports fan just like you. And you get a discount if you say that you heard it right here on the Recher podcast. So use my name and get you some money off. He's been with me since the beginning. Love that guy. He is the best. And then, of course, EverHealth. EverHealth.org, 17 different locations in Pinellas County. I always want to show love to EverHealth and, of course, the EverHealth Institute, which reminds me a lot of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting that I went to, that hands-on training that I was able to get from them and to help me in my career. And if you want to change your career and get involved in the medical field in some form or fashion, this is the place to go. And you guys understand the love we have for a guy like Dr. Carlos Rodriguez. He just makes our show a whole heck of a lot better. And those are the type of people that are over there at EverHealth. So I went to the High Point location. They have a sliding scale for the uninsured. And we're going to pause for 2 minutes because, it's the national anthem time for Sonia Bryce and Kirksey. great Sonia Bryson Kirksey, baby. She is the best, man. She is the best. And it's a special Rink of Dreams out there. They have some photographers out there, Thunderbugs out there. Special edition today. Special edition. But yes, we always got to pause for our good friend Sonia Bryson Kirksey. That was the only thing really that was missing from the Stadium Series game, was that Sonia Bryson Kirksey should have been the anthem singer. Sorry, Hunter Hayes. And then the in-arena host. The fact that it wasn't Greg Wolf. I just thought it missed a little bit there. A big thank you to our guy, Lady Evil, Rolly. Let's get those Wrecking Crew shirts, Jay. They are coming. Don't you worry. All right, let's bring him in a little bit early because he's here, and he's our good pal, our good guy, Ben Pierce. What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm good. How's it going, man?
I'm good, man. Long time no see, buddy.
Yeah, it's been what, like an hour, maybe?
You got that right. And this is one of my favorite things ever. Benny talking bolts. I was going to change it. I know, but I love this one. I love this one, buddy. All right, man, let's get right into it. The Stadium Series. I just, Coop said it today, after morning skate. I don't know if you could have scripted it any better, Ben. And I saw some great pictures with you outside of the rink there. It's just, man, it's a weekend that I won't soon forget. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's, kind of like, I know it is a cliche. You could probably call it a couple different things, but it's a dream come true, I think, for a lot of different people. And you look back, probably even, you say for sure 10 years, but probably even 5 years ago. I don't know anybody saw this happening in Tampa, Florida. And the amount of work that went into bringing it here. And it starts all the way at the top at Jeff Vinnick, right? I think the fact that you look at Brandon Hagel and Jon Cooper, both of them post-game went out of their way to give the Lightning owner and chairman a big shout out, because none of this happens if Jeff Vinnick isn't repeatedly going to the NHL and saying, hey, we're one of the best organizations in this league. And I know that it might sound crazy to have an outdoor game in Tampa, Florida, but this is going to be worth your time.
That's right.
And what was the reaction after the game? Every single person on the national level has said, this is one of the very best outdoor games the NHL has ever put on, from production to the on-ice product to like top to bottom. It was one of the best outdoor games the NHL has ever seen. Now, I'll admit I am biased, obviously, working for the Lightning. I don't know that you're ever going to beat that original Winter Classic with the Snowfest and the Crosby goal. Right. Like that game obviously was just unbelievable. This one's right up there, man. To be down 5-1 in the second period, you got the goalie fight in a, what you and I both know is a hockey market, but to show to the world that this is a hockey market, and to see a sold out 65,000 people watching a hockey game in Florida. Remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. And it was like chills. There were multiple times throughout the game I'm just sitting there, and even in the press box, Jay, I'd like to see Hags score 11 seconds in. That place was shaking, right? In the press box, you could hear that place booming. So it was my first game actually at Ray J in the press box. I know you're there all the time for the Bucks games, and just a world-class facility. I'd like to see a hockey game there. It was remarkable. I can't say enough good things about our experience there. And from what we're seeing top to bottom, from the NHL side, the national media, and of course the Bolts get the W. So what more can you ask for that?
Yeah, exactly. Every single storyline benefited the Lightning so well. And what about Saturday, man? Practice. To be able to be in that tent, it was surreal. It felt like one of those old school, hockey rinks in a small town and in the Midwest or in Canada somewhere, to be able to be in that. Because you and we were under the belief early on that we weren't going to be able to get in the tent. And then we got the word that we were allowed in. I was like, man, we are on the VIP list, Benny. So, it was so cool to be in there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of growing up where I did, like a small town in Wisconsin. And just like I've told this story before, but the rink that I grew up in was actually, it's an insane story, but it was a summer as a pole shed. And then in the winters, they'd pull down the garage doors on the outside. and they would freeze it and put the ice rink in there. And the ceiling was, I'm trying to think now, it was probably, 20 feet, 30 feet. I'd have to think, but like you couldn't do the traditional NHL chip the puck out because the puck would hit the ceiling and they'd have to stop play. So a lot of other like visiting teams couldn't run their typical like breakout or panic play of just get the puck out of the zone. And we had a lot of different plays where the boards, because they'd have to take them out all the time every year, they would kind of go in a little bit unevenly. So we could ring the puck around a certain spot and it would hit the right spot in the boards where it would kick out right to the center of the slot. So we had like set plays in our own barn. And because it was just garage doors separating us from the Wisconsin cold, it was like 20 below. If it was 20 below outside, it was like 15 below in the rink. And so seeing that experience under the tent, it kind of did take me back to a lot of my roots, and that was cool. And talking to the guys, a lot of them said the exact same thing, right? I know you were there talking to Vasi and like hearing him talk about his mom in the old apartment building, looking down on him skating out on the pond in Russia. And so many guys had stories like that. You know, JJ Moser talking about skating outside, and it just the guys just were having so much fun with it, right? And I don't know, like Coop made the comment earlier in the week about Gary Bettman and his magic wand of getting it to be 40 degrees in Tampa, Florida for this game on this weekend. And, you know, now this week, again, it looks like we might see some temps back up in the 80s a couple days. I don't know how the days lined up perfectly the way it did, but the practice day was incredible. And I think the most important thing was everybody got to take part in it, right? Like Max Groshev was technically reassigned to Syracuse yesterday, but he got to take part in the skate after helping this team over the last couple of weeks through all the injuries. We saw Braden Point, Lilleberg, Dastu, guys that have been out injured. And I think that's a big thing for this group. You know, it has been such a group effort this year with all the injuries, and to see everybody get to be a part of it, I think was really cool because, you know, just the energy all weekend was incredible. And you could tell everybody was having a good time with it. And like you said, the small town rink vibes, getting to see everybody have to pause to wait to have the trainers take their skate guards off by the glass was like watching free skate, you know, like the learn to skate programs with the little kids at the local rink. So just top to bottom, a great time. And you saw everybody had a great time with it.
No doubt about it. We got some breaking news, Ben. I don't know if you saw this or not. Did you see it?
I did, yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, Anthony Cirelli not going to the Olympics now. We're just seeing it. It is breaking news. Anthony Cirelli out, Sam Bennett in for Team Canada. Man, your heart goes out to him, Benny. I mean, we see Elliot Friedman on it, Darren Drager on it. And those are two of the biggest names. Obviously, if they're going with it, we can all go with it. This is just heartbreaking for Tony. Saw him downstairs a little while ago. He didn't look too happy. Poor guy, man. Poor freaking guy. Got banged up in the Stadium Series game and left, and he's been such a big part of Team Canada, being such a big part of the Tampa Bay Lightning, helped them win, you know, 4 nations, and this has to be heartbreaking for him.
Yeah, like, and you know, when this roster first got announced, you know, there were a lot of people that, and I shouldn't say a lot of people, but there were people mostly in South Florida that were upset about Cirelli being on this team, which was absolutely ridiculous. Like, this guy is such a good hockey player. And you look at his numbers this year, even, you know, like he's got 35 points and 15 goals. And by the way, he's one of the best penalty killers in the league. No doubt. And like Coop has said so many times this year when asked about the Olympics, and Jay, I think between the two of us, we've probably asked him 50 times. So I'm guessing with all the trips to Canada, he's probably over 1,000 by now being asked about the Olympics, you know, over the course of the year. He said so many times, like, I'm not trying to build a team of all-stars here.
Right.
I'm trying to build the best hockey team. And Anthony Cirelli, there are 32 NHL teams that are better with Anthony Cirelli on them. Yes. I don't care what team in the NHL you're looking at, they are better if Anthony Cirelli is on them. And then you look at every single Olympic team could use an Anthony Cirelli because he does all of the little things right. He can win faceoffs. He can kill penalties. He's on the second power play unit. He can play if, like, even you look at like the Four Nations team, he was playing on the wing at times and at center, right? Like, you can put him in different spots. And I think it's the versatility for Cirelli, and Team Canada is going to miss that. You know, you do feel bad for Cirelli because he's had such a great year, right? Last year, he had a career year offensively, and This year again, he's one of the best penalty killers in the league. He's on pace for another great year offensively. We both know how important he is in this room, and it stinks. And a big reason for why this team has been so good defensively is Anthony Cirelli, right? Like, he does so much in the defensive zone to help this team. And those are the kind of guys that you want to see get rewarded with opportunities like this, because is he ever going to score 40 goals in this league?
Right.
Probably not. I love that. I love that for C. You love to see a guy like that get rewarded. And that was what was so fun about last year, was seeing him in that offense really come to fruition for him. But he does so much hard work, and he does all the little things right. And those are the guys you want to see get rewarded. So it's unfortunate that he's not going to be going to Milan. But there's not much else you can say. It's really too bad, because he's such a great part of this Lightning team. And, it looks like Sam Bennett's going to be going instead.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, Sam Bennett's a heck of a hockey player. Like, there's 30 guys, 35 guys that could be going for Team Canada. There's a good chunk of guys in that group that probably deserve to be going. And Sam Bennett is a worthy replacement. Don't get me wrong, but Anthony Cirelli should be there. He deserves to be there. And you feel bad for C, because once again, he's having a year that he deserves to be there.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. And I thought that Bennett should have made it from the jump too. I just feel so bad, because getting to know Tony over the years too, right? Like, I mean, I've been covering the guy for almost my whole career here, and to be able to see him come up and to play and to be such an important part of this team, I know how much this impacts him. And again, I just saw him talking to Coach Jeff Halpern, and they were talking for a while, and you don't know what the conversation is, at the time. And then now you think back, like, he was probably telling them to kind of keep his head up. And it sucks, man, because you think about it as the hockey player, but Ben, I think about it more as the human being, right? And this, being around the team now for the last couple of years, like, it's hard not to think about that. I think when you're covering a team, it's one thing to be away from it, but you're with the team. You know what I mean? Like, you're rocking the starter jacket, buddy. So, I mean, when you think about things like this, and it sucks for Cirelli as the hockey player, but I think as the human being, probably hurts me and bothers me even more.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys, like, just a stand-up human being, right? And he's been here for so long that and we talk about, like, the human being and on ice, off ice, he's so good to talk to in the room. He breaks the game down well, but he's also the kind of guy that if you go in the room and you ask him, great goal tonight, what allowed you to score that goal? I don't think I've ever heard Anthony Cirelli say, I was able to make a play. He's the first guy that's going to give the credit to all four guys on the ice with him before he's going to say, he's going to say, I got lucky on that one, before he gives himself credit for a great play. And he makes so many great plays over the course of an 82-game season. And he's the first guy to point to his teammates and say, great pass by Hags. Cooch made an all-world play to find me. And, he's got a world-class personality. He's a leader in this room, and you've been able to see it more than I have, I'm sure, over the course of your career here, of seeing him kind of develop into that from the time he was a young player. But I think that's what's been cool for me is that's maybe something that I didn't realize about Anthony Cirelli when I first started here. Is I think just watching him lead by example, both on and off the ice, is something I've really grown to appreciate. And like you said, I think that it does make the news of today just a little bit harder to swallow, because he's just a stand-up guy, and you feel for him for that reason. But at the same time, you also know the way he is, as hard as he works, it's going to motivate him, right? Like, coming out of this Olympic break, man, like, he's going to be motivated to help this team go on another long playoff run, because that's how C works too. Like, he knows that this is something he really wanted to accomplish. We all know that, but he also really wants to get back to the Stanley Cup playoffs and make a long playoff push. So I think that the nice thing about Cirelli is he's going to use this the right way. It's going to stink for a little bit, but after that, he's going to find a way to use this as positive motivation. And I think I have no doubts about that.
Yeah, I'm with you, buddy. All right, so what does this team have to focus on these next two games? Obviously, Nick Paul's out, Cirelli's out, Point's out. So, I mean, this is going to be a little bit of a kind of, skeleton crew a little bit. We know Scott Sabrin got called up. He's going to play Thursday no matter what. I don't know if he'll play tonight. You think they go 11-7 again tonight, being that Hetty will be back and you're trying to work him in, and then, those last two forwards will probably be Douglas and Finley, I would think. What do you think that Jon Cooper's going to do tonight?
Well, I think it's hard to know for sure, mostly because now you're short on bodies, right? Because we found out this morning that not only are the Lightning going to be without Cirelli and Nick Paul, like you said, for these next two games, but Pointer's not going to play as well. So with that said, if you are going to dress Sabrin for Thursday, you probably want to play him tonight, I would think.
Yeah, maybe.
To get him up to speed. And if that's the case, we haven't seen Curtis Douglas for a couple of games either. So do you go back to 12-6 and let both of those guys get their feet under them ahead of Thursday? I don't know. And I think we've heard from Coop again all season long of this team's got options. They can go 11-7. They can go 12-6. Now, if my math, again, I'm not a math guy, but with all the injury announcements today, I do believe, even with the Sabrin call up today, I think they've only got 12 healthy forwards right now.
Yeah, they do. They do.
So to me, again, this is just me thinking out loud, I would almost rather have the 12 forwards, mostly to make sure everybody's at full speed, because then if you do, let me just knock on every piece of wood in my house real quick. If you do have another injury, then everybody's at full speed ahead of the last game before the break, just because you don't have those replacements,
Right.
That's just where my head's at. Again, I think Hetty just played just over 10 minutes in that Stadium Series game, and it was so great to see Hetty back. Like the fact that he was able to get back and play in that game was fantastic for this team. So I understand if they do go 11-7 and just kind of spread those minutes out here ahead of the Olympic break. But I also could see the argument for going 12-6 simply because they don't have the bodies and to make sure everybody's at full speed here in these last two games.
Yeah, and you kind of go through the crew. You're like, all right, well, Gensel, you got two lines that are together, right? Because you got Gensel, James, and Gonsalves. You got Holmberg, Gore, and Gergensons. There's your six. And then you have Kucherov, Hagel. That's 8. Who am I missing? Oh, Bjorkstrand, right? So that's 9. And then you have Finley, Douglas, and Sabrin. So that's 10, 11, and 12. It's my goodness. Like, who's going to play center tonight, right? Gensel.
Well, we heard Coop this morning. We did see Gensel play center, at the last part of that game, last game. I would not be surprised tonight if we see Gensel on that top unit.
Yeah.
Maybe loading up that top line. I wouldn't be shocked if we see Gensel centering Hagel and Kucherov. And again, this is me spitballing. And then maybe you run back your second. And again, like, this is the nice thing about the Lightning is you have so much depth. I would be shocked if they split up the dynamic trio.
No, I don't think they will.
I don't think you're splitting up Gergensons, Gordon, Holmberg, the Hounds line, because they've been so effective. So I think that is the one cemented line. Now, again, with the call up today, I would guess Douglas, if they do go 12-6, I would guess that Douglas, Finley, Sabrin is probably a trio. So then it's really, what do you want to do with Gonsalves, James, Bjorkstrand?
That'll be it.
Right.
I think
that would theoretically be the other top 6 group. And that's in my mind. Or do you, and then you do have the option then of, instead, do you try to balance it out and go maybe, do you put,
no, you're right. No,
that's
you're
my
right.
mind.
No, you're right. Cause you have to do that now that we've done the math. We figured this out. I think we stumbled upon the right answer, Ben, because you don't want to break up James and Gensel either because of how well that they played together, but they're going to.
Well, we just did though.
But that's what I'm saying. That you're going to have to tonight. They have to play center. So in order to do it, because you're not going to put Bjorkstrand on line 1, because it's not going to be Bjorkstrand, Kucherov, and Hagel. None of those guys are centers. So which one of those guys are going to go up? And if you have to pick one, you would pick Gensel over James. So the lines tonight, ipso facto, will probably be Gensel, Hagel, Kucherov. Then you have James centering Gonsalves on one side, Bjorkstrand on the other, and then the Gord line and then the Finley line. You know, that's if you go 12-6. You know?
Right. And then again, that's just my kind of me working through it in my head, mostly because there's only 12 forwards, which we haven't really seen much of this year because they've had so many options, right? Now, if they go 11-7, then maybe all of that changes and we do see some rotations. And, you know, the nice thing about having players like Kuch and Gens is if they do go 11-7, then we probably see a lot of different combinations, right? We probably see Nikita Kucherov going out there every other shift or Gensel or Hag seeing a lot of different combinations. So we'll see. I do think, speaking of Dominic James, his speed and the fact that he's played so well in that new kind of top 6 role, I do think it gives them more options than we probably would have foreseen even a month ago. Because he's shown the ability, you know, he's not playing a ton of time on ice per se, because he doesn't get a ton of time, obviously, on the power play, right? He's not playing power play minutes right now, but he's looked really good next to Jake Gensel and Gage Gonsalves. That trio's looked really good, and I think his foot speed does him a lot of good in that top 6. So we'll see what it looks like, but in my mind, I think that's probably what we can expect tonight if they do decide to go 12-6. So we'll see. You know, it's always hard to know for sure, but we'll see.
Ben, let everybody know where they can find you, what you got going on. What are we doing? The Into the Blue podcast. You know, you guys have crushed it with Gabby going on maternity leave. You and JSB's done such a great job. I mean, it's been awesome, man.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. You can follow me on, I almost just said Twitter. I forget that that's a thing of the past now. X, I believe, is what we're calling it now. At Benjamin J Reports. And it's been a blast doing that. Into the Blues, but like you said, Julie's been great stepping right in. I think we had almost a 50-minute podcast this week. So we touch on all sorts of good stuff this week, including the Olympics and the injuries, what we expect. So Julie's been great, fantastic. And I do believe she is officially boots on the ground in getting ready to cover the Olympics. So I'm sure she'll have a ton of fun there. But it's been a blast, and I'll have a ton of good stories here coming up for the Olympics, and just continue to grind away here. You know, it's hard to believe we're already game 54 tonight. I don't know where this season's going, but lots of good stuff already in the past, and here we go. Because once this Olympic break comes and goes, it is going to be full speed ahead to the finish.
What are you doing during the break?
Covering more hockey. We'll be covering the Olympics. I mean, like you said, it's unfortunate for C, but you know, even without C, like the Lightning have 9 guys going at the NHL level, and Wojtek Stachowiak playing in Syracuse is representing Germany too. So there's still 10 guys in the Lightning system that are going. So they'll keep me plenty busy with recaps and stuff throughout the Olympic break, and got a couple of really fun feature stories coming as well. So it's going to be a blast getting to continue to write about the Lightning throughout the break. And I think I'm most looking forward to, though, maybe catching up on some sleep, because this Stadium Series, man, what a grind. But what a fun thing to experience, and it was definitely worth the missed couple hours of sleep.
Yeah, if any, I'm with you, pal. Next week and not having to put a suit on and having to get up early and go to the arena.
We're not looking at the tie rack for the next 2 weeks. I'll tell you that much.
You got that right, pal. The great Ben Pierce. Ben, you're the man. I appreciate it, buddy. Rest a little bit, and I'll see you back at the arena tonight. Thanks, bud.
All right, sounds good, man. Thanks, guys.
All right, buddy. The great Ben Pierce, man. He's awesome. What a great addition to the Lightning a couple of years ago. We're so glad that he's here in the Bay Area. And, we always have such a good time when he's on the show. Check him out. Follow all the things that he does, that Into the Blue podcast. They do such a great job touching on everything. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for me. I'm freezing. I'm cold. I got a splitting headache. I got a migraine. I feel terrible for Anthony Cirelli. This has just been awful news for him. And you'd have to think that, you know, the stinger that he had, it was more than a stinger. It's probably a shoulder injury that's going to keep him out for a while. So, damn, it sucks. It really, really sucks. Damn, man. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? All right, so tonight and Thursday is going to be pretty wild as far as what this team is going to look like. A little bit of a skeleton crew. We kind of broke it down on what we think that it's going to look like as far as what the lines could be. I don't know, man. We'll see. Follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I'm everywhere. Like and subscribe as well on YouTube. A big thank you to Ben Pierce for joining us on the program today. Again, interviewing Coach Brian Hodson from USF a little bit later on tonight. So we'll play that for you tomorrow, as well as Eric Erlinson. So we'll talk about the Lightning. We'll talk about Cirelli and the Olympics, a little bit of everything with Double E Manana. A big thank you to our guy Rolly for the super chat. And, of course, our partners, Honest Hammer Custom Builders and EverHealth. Could not do this without you guys. Keep those donations. Keep everything coming, man. That's the only way we're going to keep this train rolling. Back at the home studio tomorrow, and then we'll be here at the arena on Thursday, back home on Friday as well. Can't wait to talk some more sports with you. I love you all. We'll see you tomorrow at noon right here on the Jay Recher Podcast. I'm gone.